So things have taken a turn for the absolute worst. Really, nothing worse could have happened than this. And we now have a Category 5 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, this is real. This is not a joke. This is the strongest hurricane we have seen all year, and one of the strongest of the decade, all right? We have a just an incredible storm. We're expecting this to strengthen even further over the next couple of hours to the point where it will have gusts up to 200 miles per hour. Now, we are expecting that this does weaken out before its landfall in Florida, luckily, but we're still expecting catastrophic and devastating impacts to areas like Tampa Bay, where we're expecting a high-end Category 3 to make landfall. And considering that this system has exceeded everybody's expectations up to this point, we honestly could see something worse than that. So again, Category 5 Milton now confirmed, all right? This has been a Category 5 for a while. I just got home, however, and again, this is a devastating situation. Again, the strongest hurricane we've seen all year, one of the strongest in the past decade or so. This is an incredible storm right here that is going to cause catastrophic impacts. Again, we had the earliest season Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic ever this year, and now we have one of the latest. Usually we do not see something like this in October, but here we are. Again, a devastating hurricane. It just does not get more textbook than this with the satellite. I mean, this is more impressive than Beryl. This is more impressive than Kirk. This is more impressive than Helene. This is an insane-looking hurricane. Again, evacuation orders are in effect for a good chunk of Florida, and we're going to get into the impacts more later into this stream here, but things are really kicking off, and it is curving north here, all right? It's actually traveling northeast instead of due east like the National Hurricane Center was saying it was going to, and that is going to put it towards likely more of a northern track than what the National Hurricane Center was expecting. So we'll kind of go ahead and update that situation later on in this stream, but we need to get right into things. So we have got ourselves hurricane watches and storm surge watches in effect for pretty much the entire west coast of Florida here, and tropical storm watches at least cover pretty much the whole peninsula at this point. All right, we've got Apalachicola, Tampa, Orlando, Northport, Cape Coral, the Keys. We have got so many of these major Florida cities here under some sort of tropical weather alert, so this is going to be very, very, very intense. It is, and again, we're expecting still a high-end Category 3 landfall just like we were originally, but out of nowhere, this strengthened and went Cat 5. So, again, honestly, at this point, we could see a Category 4 landfall. We can't completely rule it out. Again, we're expecting a landfall right near St. Petersburg, Tampa, all right, Tampa Bay. Again, this is going to go right over Davis Islands, all right? This is going to track its way through the peninsula up towards Orlando, again potentially causing catastrophic impacts. Again, 909 millibar low pressure system, according to Mr. Storm there in chat. I'm just going to trust him on that. I have not personally looked because again I literally just got home. I was not expecting this in the slightest. There was no doubt in my mind that we were not going to have a Cat 5, but I mean here we are. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the impacts now that we are expecting this devastating of a storm. So hurricane watch is now in effect once again. All right, we are talking about Category 3 hurricane force wind speeds at landfall of 95 to 115 miles per hour sustained with gusts up to 135. This is going to cause devastating to catastrophic impacts, structural damage to sturdy buildings, some with complete roof and wall failures, complete destruction of mobile homes, damage greatly accentuated by large airborne projectiles. Locations may be uninhabitable for weeks or months. Numerous large trees snapped or uprooted, along with fences and roadway signs blown over. Many roads impassable from large debris and more within urban and heavily wooded areas. Many bridges, causeways, and access routes impassable. Widespread power and communication outages. The storm surge forecast looks even worse. Life-threatening and historic storm surge, 8 to 12 feet for the Tampa Bay area. This is also going to cause devastating to catastrophic impacts. 4 to 8 inches of rainfall here. We're already seeing some rainfall in the Tampa area, but this is going to be it's just going to add on to the problems here. And then we also could see a couple of tornadoes as well. So, again, this is going to be a very, very, very devastating and intense storm, obviously, for Tampa, but really anywhere else under these tropical alerts right now, and really for the entire peninsula of Florida. Yes, evacuation orders are in effect for Tampa. I'm not sure exactly the other communities they're in effect for, but I know they are in effect for Tampa. That's a guarantee. So now we do have the peak surge forecast, unlike last stream. Again, we're expecting 8 to 12 feet to be a possibility for the Tampa Bay region, which is significant. That is enough to wash out communities along the coast pretty much. I know that we are forecasting up to 20 feet with Helene, so that makes 12 feet sound quite minimal, but 12 feet, guys, is still a massive deal, and that's why we're seeing these evacuation orders be put into effect here. So we've got Charlotte Harbor down towards, we've got Inglewood down towards Bonaire Beach, expecting 5 to 10 feet of surge. Again, I believe evacuation orders are in effect for that area too, for areas along the coast. We're expecting 4 to 7 feet of surge between Bonaire Beach and Chokoloskee here. 2 to 4 feet of surge between Chokoloskee and Flamingo, and then 1 to 3 feet of surge for the Keys. We are expecting 5 to 10 feet of surge for areas in between Anclo River and Yankeetown, 3 to 5 feet of surge between Yankeetown and the Suwannee River, and 1 to 3 feet of surge for the entire Big Bend of Florida there. And yes, the Big Bend of Florida, that's how far north this system is. I mean, this is going to be, it's going to bring impacts really to the entirety of the peninsula, like we've been saying. It's going to cause significant damage all across the peninsula. Again, I don't think anybody predicted this was going to go Cat 5 this early. I was saying this would go Cat 5 to Mr. Storm. Him and I were discussing it last night, and not to rub it in his face, but he didn't seem to believe me. But here we are with a Category 5 hurricane now, and again, this is only strengthening, so it is a significant and, again, catastrophic situation that we have ongoing right now for the Yucatan Peninsula, but again, eventually the Florida Peninsula is going to see some of those impacts. So we've got the intensity guidance here. We have some of our members here saying that this will make landfall with Category 5 intensity. And if this makes landfall with Category 5 intensity, that is going to be catastrophic. Now, we've got a lot of them saying it's going to be Cat 4 at landfall, and just a couple saying Cat 3 at landfall. So without a doubt, it's going to be somewhere between a Category 3 and a Category 5 at landfall, and then it will quickly die out once it crosses the peninsula there. Some of our members, though, really have this keeping going even after it crosses the peninsula at Category 4 intensity. Again, at this point, it's probably going to be post-tropical once it gets past the peninsula. Count how many times I say the word peninsula in this stream. So this is the infrared satellite. Just unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in live time. This is it is just unbelievable how rapidly this thing strengthened. We are expecting a 7 p.m. Wednesday landfall almost on the dot on the west coast of Florida here around Tampa. If that were to happen, we definitely will have a stream out for that, hopefully. So, give me just a minute here. Again, if you have any questions about your location, please leave them down below. This is a very important stream here. One of the most important that this channel will ever have, because, again, this was just so unexpected. Welcome back, Tampa Air. It's just crazy. So, the National Hurricane Center, we can go ahead and look at their rainfall forecast, and this is also quite significant. We're expecting up to a foot of rain for portions of the Florida Peninsula. If you want to get a little bit more specific, we're forecasting 6 to 8 inches of rain for Tampa Bay. We are forecasting 6 to 8 inches of rain for Jacksonville. We've got ourselves 4 to 6 inches of rain on the cards for Orlando, and then we've got ourselves 2 to 4 inches of rain for Miami. Those are some of the more major cities, but everywhere in the peninsula will see rain from this. You may not see rain in the Panhandle, but everywhere in the peninsula will get some sort of rain. And again, add that on to the storm surge and the winds, it's going to be a huge problem. I actually think it's not usual that I say this, but I think the destructive winds could be the worst part of this. We are expecting, again, a couple of tornadoes to be possible. Again, we're expecting a landfall Wednesday night. Right now, this is what the Storm Prediction Center has out for Wednesday night. We have a slight risk of tornadoes here for the southern half of Florida. This includes Miami, Hialeah, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Pembroke Pines. And then we've got a marginal risk going out for central portions of Florida there. That includes Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Spring Hill, and Brandon. So again, even if you are south of the landfall here, you're actually going to have the greatest tornado threat. Again, a 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of any given point for that yellow area there. I'd also like to point out they have a marginal risk out for tornadoes tomorrow. That includes Miami, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Hialeah, and Fort Lauderdale. So tomorrow will be the day where we stop forecasting and we start covering, because tornadoes and damaging winds as well as heavy rain could already be impacting the west coast of Florida at that point. Again, this thing is starting to move. It has been stationary for days, but it's going kind of wild. You live a bit west of Orlando. How bad do I reckon it'll be? Well, again, I will say the biggest threat, honestly, for you would probably be the wind threat. Again, we're still definitely going to be talking about 100 plus mile per hour sustained winds in that area, with gusts getting well over that. Actually, if we just go ahead and take a look at the area west of Orlando here. Oh, okay, so not quite as bad as I was saying, but again, 60 to 80 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts up to 100 miles per hour. We're expecting 4 to 8 inches of rain, so, I mean, yeah, it's going to be quite intense. And again, a few tornadoes are also going to be possible. What's up, Gooseman? Again, yeah, shear and some dry air are going to try to tear this thing apart. As it makes its way to landfall here. But again, I don't think that it's really going to slow this system down too much. I definitely don't think we're going to see a Category 5 at landfall, but it doesn't matter, Cat 3 or Cat 5, it really doesn't. And again, we're expecting at least a Category 3 landfall. Again, a major hurricane landfall is almost a guarantee at this point on Wednesday night. By the way, we've still got Hurricane Leslie out there in the eastern Atlantic. Your best friend are fighting about Milton. That's crazy. But again, hopefully people take this seriously. I imagine the Tampa Bay area, since they got devastating impacts from Helene, they'll probably take this pretty seriously, especially since we're expecting things to be even worse this time around for Tampa Bay. Jack, we were just talking about that. I do think that now that it is a Category 5, Shear's going to have a slightly harder time tearing this thing apart, and I do think that a Category 3 or possibly even a low-end Category 4 landfall are the most likely scenarios here. I think a Cat 4 landfall is honestly pretty probable. But yeah, we were just talking about that. Again, we've still got insane cleanup ongoing across parts of the Carolinas and Georgia. Can you please mention just north of Fort Myers? So, just north of Fort Myers. Fort Myers is always the one where I don't remember where it's at. All these Florida cities, I get them mixed up. Where's Fort Myers? I believe it's further south here. Okay, so, yeah. So, the Fort Myers area, you're saying just north of Fort Myers. So big threats would actually be tornadoes. I definitely think you're going to get put under a tornado warning at some point for this system, most likely in that area, or at least have a tornado warning near you. But we're also going to be talking about big-time winds, a lot of heavy rain if we take a look at the damaging wind threat. We're talking about tropical storm force winds, or below tropical storm force winds, I guess, 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts up to 50. But again, heavy rain, honestly, will be a pretty big threat, 3 to 6 inches of rain. And then, again, also a couple of tornadoes, honestly, will probably be the biggest threat, in my opinion. Rain and tornadoes would be the main things you have to look out for. Now, if you're along the coast, it's a lot different. You're going to see significant surge, but if you're just north of Fort Myers, you wouldn't be along the coast, so. And actually, we'll get new hurricane watches here soon, so honestly, the forecast may be a bit more aggressive this time around whenever the next update comes out, but we'll see. And that's the forecast from the National Hurricane Center right now. I just cannot believe it. This is insane. Holy crap. We have not had a Cat 5 in the Gulf all year. We didn't have a Cat 5 in the Gulf last year. But here we are. When's the next update? 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's whenever everything will get updated, not just the winds. Dude, this has got to be blowing up over X. Oh, would you look at that? Tampa Bay and evacuator trending. Again, just insane stuff. It rapidly intensified today, unbelievably. Wow, so Max Velocity on Twitter, we already have a top 5 strongest hurricane of all time in the Gulf that could be even higher soon. So this could genuinely be the strongest Gulf of Mexico or hurricane ever. Or one of them anyway. So. Insanity. Beryl was not this strong in the Gulf, and even in general, Beryl never got. I mean, Beryl got very close to this strength. It's comparable, but I'd argue this system's a little stronger than Beryl. So, anyway. And right now we're talking about sustained winds, or excuse me, we're talking about gusts probably over 200 miles per hour. And the last update, 175 mile per hour sustained winds, 911 millibar low pressure system. Yes, hurricane hunters are out there in this right now. Let's actually turn that on. So this is the newest Hurricane Hunter mission here. Bro, I don't even want to talk about the government controls the weather theory or whatever. That is just ridiculous. That's so stupid. So, again, Vince Welty now down in Central Florida, heading down to Tampa for landfall here, likely. And we've already got a ton of chasers down there. Tracers is wild. This is crazy, dude. This is absolutely insane. You're staying in a suite in a hotel? That's nice. I think Orlando will still see some pretty crazy stuff, so... Again, this was just so unexpected. Again, a Category 5 now. We weren't expecting this to reach Category 5 strength at all, let alone this early in its life cycle. Alright, thank you for tuning in, Sylvia. Again, next National Hurricane Center update comes out in about 14 minutes here, so we'll check that out. Again, this is just unbelievable. Again, a textbook satellite imagery there. Look at that eye. I mean, it looks just like a donut hole. Yeah, it's the second fastest hurricane to go to from Cat 1 to Cat 5. I did see that. Unbelievable. Just crazy. Yeah, there were two saying Cat 5, and again, I was saying Cat 5 possible. Your cousins are in Tampa, what should you tell them? I mean, if your cousins are in Tampa, you need to tell them to get the heck out of there. Storm surge, destructive gusts over 150 miles an hour, tornadoes, it's insane. You need to tell them to get the heck out of there. They gotta get at least a little further inland. You can't be in Tampa. If you were in Tampa during this, I mean, it's just like being in Helene. Say you were in Perry. I mean, it's a very similar situation. Again, not quite as devastating, but it's going to be close. And again, this system honestly could be a lot stronger than we originally thought at landfall, so it could be close to Helene's strength. Yeah, I saw the highways are all backed up. Again, that's a good thing, though. Could it still hit where Helene hit? No, not really. It would have to... I mean, it is curving further north than we thought, but it's not... Like, even if it continues on this track, if it keeps going further north like this, it's still not going to be in Helene's area. Helene was way up there by Perry. I think the furthest north that's even possible here would be like a Homosassa Springs landfall, but even that's a little unrealistic, so... Give me just a second. I'm going to get a tissue. I'll be right back. But again, who would have thought the strongest hurricane of the year would have been in October? Just crazy. And the GFS likes the idea of another one coming in after this. A very strong hurricane, potentially. Again, 2024 we thought was going to underperform, but nope. Not at all. This is just as crazy as we thought it was going to be. You just don't see this almost ever. This system's definitely broken some record. It would have to be a really specific record benefiting this system's situation, but it definitely has broken some sort of record. There's no way. I mean, this is the definition of a record-breaking storm. I've never seen something like this in this area at this time of year. Just unbelievable stuff. Absolutely unbelievable. Crazy. Yeah, the one after Milton would be Nadine. Again, we've got to at least see a tropical storm out of that with how consistent the GFS and even the Euro have been on that. And we've actually got tropical moisture in Florida right now that we're expecting to develop into a tropical storm. The National Hurricane Center has finally put something out about it. It's been pretty noticeable for a while, but the National Hurricane Center has finally said there's a 10% chance that that develops within the next 7 days. So. I don't think you can really say we're at peak anymore in the second week of October. We're like a month past peak. Well, keep in mind, though, that's only a 10% chance in the next 7 days. And also, at one point, this system was down to like a 30% chance. And look at what we have now, so you can't just say it's not going to develop. Yeah, that tropical wave off the coast of Africa is what I was talking about whenever I said there's another potential for Florida to see an impact here in the next couple of weeks. So. I don't know why I've been sitting like this for so long. I'm just sitting on the side of my chair. Have the worst sore throat ever. Yeah, you said you have a fever. Did you have no idea how badly I would, how much I would pay to be out here right now in Florida chasing this? I would pay so much more. I would honestly pay my entire life saving to do go to Florida right now and chase streaming instead of go to school. And of course, this is on the 1 year anniversary of another disaster, just like Francine made landfall on 9/11. This is on the 1 year anniversary of another disaster. I'm not gonna go into depth on the situation because that's not what this stream is about. But I just wanted to point that out. It's just really sad how coincidental this is. Getting flash flooding risk at a moderate risk. Couple of moderate risks. They may connect. I'm not too certain about that though, but we'll see. Yes. Warbeck. Yeah, it's all the government. They totally control this. That's just such a stupid theory. Like, how? Like, how do you think the government... That I don't understand. Maybe if I looked a little deeper into the theory, I could see valuable arguments. But again, obviously, I would never start to believe anything like that. That's just ridiculous. That's so stupid. Waiting for this next update here from the NHC. Again, this will definitely still be a Cat 5, no doubt about it, but I want to see exactly how strong this is going to be. And just look at how fast it's barreling off to the northeast now. We can't make the barrel is barreling joke this time. That's the only unfortunate part. Well, that's not the only unfortunate part, but that's an unfortunate part. Again, it is really curving north here. You can see these little minor convection towers. So, this is big. Oh, never mind. I thought we had a new, Never mind. Kind of anticlimactic, but just never mind. Never mind that. If you're talking about sustained, I don't really think we're going to hit 200 miles per hour sustained. But gusts, definitely. We're already there on gusts, I'm pretty sure, so. I think we're well above that on gusts, actually. Dude, this is not looking good. I mean, no duh, but this, again, if this curves further to the excuse me, this curves further to the north, that could honestly be a bad thing, because that could lead to Tampa seeing even worse impacts, honestly. But it's 180. Is the new update out? We're definitely not hitting 200 sustained, Kevin. I'm just going to say that right now. It's really not possible, though. There's just this would if this was like the day of peak hurricane season and the SSDs were even more record breaking, then maybe. But right now, there's no way. If this hits 200 sustained, I'll delete my YouTube channel. I'll say that. Is it actually 180 sustained, though? I'm not seeing the update. I believe you, but there is another hurricane. Okay. I didn't even realize the innuendo there. I must have read that message unironically. Again, look at those little convected towers. Signs that this is still probably strengthening, honestly. Yeah, that's what, it's 9/11 right now, yeah. Okay, so there is a new update. So tropical storm warnings have just been pushed a little bit further inland. I believe, yeah, these are definitely new. Hurricane watches have also been pushed further inland. So the new update is currently coming out. They are cooked, honestly. Okay, so here we go. Here's the new update from the National Hurricane Center. Is it out on Radar Omega yet? It is not. Well, we'll just bring it up here on mobile. So, we have got ourselves, again, a devastating hurricane, obviously, of historic proportions, and wow. So, now forecasting up to 15 feet of storm surge between Anclaw River and Inglewood. That's unbelievable. This is historic. Again, this is up to 15 feet of storm surge. You don't hardly ever see that. Again, we saw that with Helene. That was the only other time we've seen that this year, or even gotten close to that. Again, 15 feet of surge now expected for Tampa Bay. That is breaking. That is really, really not good. We're also expecting a significant amount of a surge on the East Coast now, up to 5 feet of surge. That got really, really, really bad and aggressive really quickly. Wow. Okay, so there you go. Now expecting up to 15 feet of surge. That's breaking. Let me get Mr. Storm on call here. Let's see if he'll join up. So here's the new NHC update, by the way. 220 mile per hour wind gusts. This is the strongest hurricane we've seen all year by far. 905 millibars. Alright, looks like he's not going to pick up. That is insane. Give me just a second here, I'll get back to chat. And this is historic, without a shadow of a doubt. Yep, Sai, this is, again, taking a turn for the worse here. 220 mile per hour wind gusts. And again, the NHC is saying this is going to remain strong for a little bit longer. Well, I'm not budging either. I'm definitely not going to say 200 sustains possible. We're still expecting this to strengthen. We're expecting this to get up to 185 sustained with 225 mile an hour gusts, but there's just no way we get to 200 sustained. So, we'll see who emerges victorious in this little debate. Get a downtown Tampa landfall. Unbelievable. That is just insane. We really could see a Category 4 landfall. Just crazy. Welcome back, Sam. Sam, you just joined back at an interesting time. We now have a new National Hurricane Center update. By 1 a.m. tonight, we are expecting this to have 185 mile per hour sustained winds and 225 mile per hour gusts. Currently, we're at 905 millibars. I didn't say it was a competition, though, did I? But yeah, we're expecting this to remain Category 5 for much longer. They've also just now issued, bro, everybody's saying that. I really don't think this is going to go 200 sustained. I think it's going to come very close. I don't think it's going to go 200 sustained. But they did just issue storm surge watches and tropical storm watches for parts of the Georgia and South Carolina coasts. So, that's new. And again, these new hurricane watches and warnings just came in. Yeah, it is. Again, I'm not denying that this is a very, very, very strong storm. So sustained means that the winds will last that strong for a minute or more straight. So, again, the gusts will be well over 200. We'll have isolated occurrences of 225 mile an hour gusts, but for a minute straight, the winds have to remain at 200 miles per hour. I just don't think it's going to happen. Well, but, 24 hours from now, actually, it's already going to be on the downward trend again. It's still going to be extremely strong, probably Cat 5 still, but... So, the new hurricane warnings specify 155 mile per hour gusts at landfall still, wow. And 11 to 15 feet of surge now. Again, unbelievable. That's the forecast for Tampa Bay. Just insane. I can't believe it. Yeah, this is crazy. Insane stuff. So, yeah, this is definitely the storm of the year in the Atlantic, at least. Typhoon Yagi was pretty crazy, but will there be as much rain as Helene? No. You're under a hurricane warning? Yep. So Orlando now has been pushed under to a hurricane warning. What's up, Character Matters? Again, Apalachicola now under tropical storm warnings. Again, if you're just not tuning in, we're now expecting this to strengthen even further. 225 mile per hour wind gusts and 185 mile per hour sustained winds later tonight. Again, currently we're talking about 180 mile per hour sustained winds and gusts up to 220 miles per hour. Just insane stuff. We're expecting a high-end Category 3 or a low-end Category 4 landfall. Wow. Again, this is the strongest Gulf hurricane I think we've ever seen. Or it's in the top 3 easily. Again, we're not far off from the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic ever. We're not going to get there, but it's going to be pretty darn close. So. Anyway. That's just insane. 100-mile-an-hour jump in 24 hours. Incredible. So, anyway, I think we're ending off the stream here. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have another stream later tonight covering this even further. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one. Please.